Hey everybody, this is Frilioth and welcome back to another Minecraft tutorial. Now many of you have built this 1.12 trading hall, and in 1.12 and prior it worked perfectly, it was fantastic, but in 1.13 due to the new water mechanics it broke. Today I'm going to show you how to fix it. Now just in case you don't know how it got broken in 1.13, I'll quickly explain how it happened. Now prior to 1.13, water would push an entity 8 blocks while they were on fence gates, or it'll push entities 8 blocks through water, but while they were on fence gates it also pushed them 8 blocks, which was fine because that got them to the sign, and then the sign got them all the way to the end and onto the rails. But in 1.13 it only pushes entities 4 blocks. So you get the first 4 blocks and then they stop. And it's broken the trading hall because either now they have to wait until another villager comes up behind them to push them all the way down to here, or you have to put another sign there and then a water block for 4 blocks, then a sign, then a water block, and then a sign right at the end there. Let's get a sign and show you. A sign right at the end. Oh, come on, Frills. There. To stop the water from breaking the rail at the end. And that just means that there are loads of spaces all the way down here where villagers are going to get stuck. And you're just going to have villagers. You're going to have more villagers at the top than you've got at the bottom. So it needed a fix. And today I'm going to show you how to do it. So what you're going to need as many sticky pistons as you have bays. And you're also going to need as many redstone torches as you have bays. We've got 17 bays, so I'm going to need 17 sticky pistons and I'm going to need 17 torches. Now on the plus side, we are going to get back 17 comparators and 17 repeaters. So it's not a lose-lose. We actually get some resources back. And I'll show you, I've done it on this side. As you can see, at first glance, there's not a great deal different. The biggest difference being they now sit 1 block further up. The water is 1 block further up. And it's a little bit darker over there, and I've only just noticed that. We are going to have to put a bit of lighting in there. Here, the lighting comes up through the bottom. This is the old side, the 1.12 side. This is the 1.13 fix side. So on the 1.12 side, lighting comes up from the bottom through the fence gates and the water and lights up the top. In the 1.13 fixed side there's a solid block there, so there's no lighting at the top, so we are going to have to put a bit of lighting at the top, but that's no biggie, is it? So in 1.12 the villagers sat on a detector rail which put a signal through a comparator into a block and then into a torch tower, which went into a repeater at the top, which opened and closed the fence gate. In the fix, we get rid of the comparator at the bottom and we replace it with a torch, and we do another little torch tower. We have to just jiggle the torch tower we have, but it's easy to do, and then that goes up into a block and then into a sticky piston, which now forces a block out, can't see there, forces a block out over the top of the fence gate, and the water runs down the top of that block. Once there's somebody in the bay, the block comes out, stopping somebody else falling in. When there's somebody not in the bay, let's get rid of this guy just for the sake of getting rid of this guy, like you normally would. It's exactly the same. He goes off down to Davy Jones' locker. The sticky piston retracts, leaving a hole, but the water doesn't fall down because you've got the fence gate above it, and the fence gates always stay open now. But the villager comes along and falls through that hole into the bay, which closes the hole up again. And because entities still travel 8 blocks when they're on a solid block in water, you haven't got to mess about with putting a sign every 4 blocks and messing around with water sources. It's fantastic. So I'll just hopefully show you. I don't know whether I've put blue ice in there. I'm hoping that the villagers will now go over blue ice and not get stuck. I don't know. I've not tested it. So let's have a look, shall we? So we'll quickly throw our villager in here. This is going to be coming away from where the villager breeder is. So this is just the input from the breeder. So they come in exactly the same way. And as you can see, they're travelling the full 8 blocks in the water. They wouldn't do that on the fence gates. Is blue ice going to work? Is blue ice your friend? Blue ice might be your friend. So they've gone over there. He comes to the hole. Whoop, straight through into the bay. The block closes behind it. Now, if you've got if you've got 2 holes together, like with the fence gates, they will fall down and miss a bay and fall into the end. But as soon as another villager comes along, they will fill the bays back up again. It functions exactly the same as the old version, but now it works in 1.13. So I'll show you how to fix it. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to get up the top and you have to remove all of the villagers. So hopefully you won't have a lot of villagers milling around in the top. If you have, you're going to have to try and get them out first before you do anything. I'm trying to think of an easy way of doing it. You'll probably have to block off one of these rails on the other side and then just get in and push them all down and push them out so they're on the other side and one side is free, and then do one side first and then push them all around into this side and then do the other side. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out, but you need to get rid of them all first. So let's just get you down into a bay. Let's just get you down in... Oh, yeah, you can't. Oh, there you go. And then you need to get rid of all of the water at the top. The water is going to be moved 1 level up. And then you need to get rid of that sign as well. So now you're left with that. Now you want to open all of these fence gates. So you need to make sure that they're all open before we start doing any work, because once we've got the piston in with the block in it, the block's covered it, you're not going to be able to see. I don't think you can open it. No, you can't open it from the bottom. So you just want to go down and open them all to start with, like that. Now get yourself around the back, just dig through here, then dig down until you find the level where the comparators are. And you need to remove the comparators. You just need to dig down another level and then just take out all of the blocks that are coming out of your comparator. There's a risk of getting mobs down here, so you might have to just stick a little bit of lighting down here just temporarily. And then you need to pop out all of your comparators. All of these can be recycled. And now you want to put torches on the block where your comparator was coming out of. On the other side of this block is the detector rail with the minecart on it. So if the light is off, it means that there's somebody in the bay. If the torch is on, it means that the bay is empty. And then on the block above it, you need to stick another redstone torch. Like that. And obviously, if the bottom torch is on, the top torch is off. And if the bottom torch is off, the top torch is on. Now you need to get up a few levels. So grab yourself some blocks. Get yourself up to the level where the repeaters are and the torches. Now you need to remove all of your repeaters. And then you want to put solid blocks above all of your torches. And now you want to punch a hole through there. You want to remove all of those blocks. So on the same level where the blocks are that you've just placed above your torches, you want to take all of these blocks out. like that. And now you want to put a sticky piston on this block here. Now you could try and put it like that, but that's a problem. Or you could just go around the other side and then put it in from the other side, which is probably the easiest thing to do. If you pop these blocks out above it, we can always put those back in a second, can't we? And then get up here, and then you can run all the way down, putting your pistons in like that. And now we need to put solid blocks on the face of these pistons. So grab your solid block again, and you need to put a block above the piston here. Just to fill the gap in that we've just taken out. Like that. And then you want to put the solid block on the face of all of the pistons. So now when that shoots out, it's going to cover the top of the blocks. And as I mentioned before, these have all closed again. You need to make sure all of these are open. So just be careful you don't fall into the bay while you're doing it. And then put your blocks back on the faces of your sticky pistons. If the sticky piston's retracted, then it's easy to do. But if it isn't, then it's not. And be careful that you don't put a block in front of a block. Only put the block on the face of the sticky piston. If you put another block there, when it fires, it's just going to push everything out. So just be careful when you're putting these blocks in, like that. So now you should have something that looks a little bit like that. And we've got the bays that are full with the blocks over the top. The bays that are empty have now got holes in them with open fence gates underneath. Now we need to get back up the top and put the signs back in again. Now if you're in survival, and you probably will be, you might be better putting a block there and then climbing up and standing on this block. And then just popping out the glass. You can put the glass back in a second. I forget, when I'm in creative flying about, I forget how easy it is to move about. When you're in survival, it's not that easy, is it? So if you put a temporary block just there, you can walk on it then, and you haven't got to worry about flying. Now you need to put a sign on this level. So it's a level above where these blocks are, the level above the sticky pistons. And you need to go to the very end. The villagers are coming down this way, so you want to come to the end and you want to count 8 blocks back. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So water will flow that far. So you need to put a sign on the 9th block away from the end. Now it's got to be on the 9th block away. Water is going to run all the way down to the end, to this block here, and it's going to stop there. If you put this sign any further down this way, the water will run to the end and then it'll fall off onto the rails and ruin the trading hall. So make sure that the gap at the end is 8 blocks, and then just put your sign there like that. Now you want to go back down to the end again. We need to raise that rail up by 1 block. So just pop those 2 out and then raise them up by a block, and they need to be on the same level as the water that's coming down. Like that. Okay, and make sure that you pop out any blocks that you put in to walk on, make sure you pop them out. Now get yourself back to the beginning and put back in 1 layer of your glass. Like that. And now you can put in your water. So stick in your first bit of water. That'll run down to any holes you've got in there. If you haven't got any villages in the bottom at all, that's just going to fall straight down onto the top of your fence gates, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. and then you want to come to the other side of your sign and you want to stick down another water source block, but don't put it on top of your sign. Don't put it on the same block as your sign, as you'll waterlog your sign, and then the water will flow in both directions and it'll break. It won't work. So don't put it on top of your sign. Don't waterlog your sign. Put it on the one next to it, like that. And the water's going to flow all the way down to the end on top of the fence gates. Now you've just got to put your glass back in again. Before you do, don't forget to stick a bit of lighting up here if you want. Like that. In fairness, I've just thrown it in, but you'll probably be able to place it more decoratively in a better place. Then grab your glass again. Then you want to put some glass all the way down, and then you want a piece of glass on the second block in. So your villagers come in and fall down there. Now if your villagers come in and fall down and another villager is right behind, the second villager will come in and possibly fall down and land on top of the minecart that's already in there with the villager in it. It won't damage your villager, but what could happen is that the minecart on the bottom will start moving, and the minecart that's on top of that minecart will also start moving down. And if it does, it's going to drag your villager underneath that solid block, and he's going to start taking suffocation damage and potentially die. So you need to put a piece of glass just there, and that'll stop the minecart moving down and suffocating your villager. It'll keep it at the end until there's space in the water for it to fall in the water and then move all the way down. And then you just stick a bit of glass on the front of it. You can then get rid of your temporary scaffolding walking on blocks. And you're left with that. So now we just need to get some villagers in there. So instead of going all the way to the beginning and throwing villagers in, I'm just going to go up to here and throw one in. Hopefully he won't run off. So he's coming through the glass. Villagers won't take damage in glass. And as you can see, he's coming all the way down the water chute. He gets to the hole. Boom. Falls through. Piston comes across. The water then flows right down the end. Once the water is all the way down to the sign, even when the pistons retract, the water won't disappear. So once it's done this for the first time, the water will always stay there. So it's not going to look a bit clunky, you know, while you're walking around at the bottom. It's going to look nice when it's done. Stick one more in. So just here, exactly the same as with the fence gates, this guy has fallen through and he's missed a bay and he's fallen into the end bay. It's no biggie, as I say, the next guy will come along and fall down into there. Now one thing I did forget to tell you to do is to replace that block with blue ice. You can if you want to, you don't have to. I don't know how effective blue ice is with minecarts. It may well work, it might not do. But now that's fixed and will work perfectly fine in 1.13. So there it is, that's a fix for the villager trading hall for 1.13. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, everybody. If you have, please don't forget to leave it a like, and if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future tutorials. This is Frilioth in my new 1.13 fixed trading hall, and I'm out of here.